Welcome to the Deep Dive, ready to explore AI-powered analytics and user engagement.
Sounds fascinating.
We've got a presentation by Colin Lee and some info on Microsoft Clarity to dig into. Ever wish you can see exactly how people interact with your website? Like what makes them click, scroll, or even get frustrated?
Yeah, like having X-ray vision for user behavior.
Exactly. Today, we unlock those secrets for creating truly engaging online experiences.
Cool. It's incredible how we're going beyond simple website traffic numbers. With AI, we can really understand what users are doing on a website and why.
Totally. It's like a whole new level of understanding. Speaking of which, Microsoft Clarity is the tool making this possible. Can you tell us more about it? What is Clarity and how does it work?
Clarity. Well, think of it as a free behind-the-scenes peek at how users experience your website. It captures user data, anonymously of course, and turns it into visual insights, like heat maps.
So you can see where people are clicking and scrolling and what grabs their attention, but without any privacy concerns.
You got it. Clarity prioritizes user privacy while giving you actionable data. It's a win-win for everyone. For example, it can show you things like rage clicks, where someone's repeatedly clicking in the same spot out of frustration.
Oh yeah, I've definitely been there.
Right? Or dead clicks, where someone clicks on something that doesn't work, could be a broken link or just confusing design.
Makes sense. So you can use that to identify problems and fix them.
Exactly. You can also see excessive scrolling, which might mean users are struggling to find what they need. Clarity even tracks quickbacks, where someone immediately navigates away from a page. Could hint at problems with the content.
Interesting. So by analyzing all of this, you can start to see where users might be struggling or getting confused, and then use that information to improve the website.
Exactly. And Colin Lee's presentation has some great examples of how this works in practice. He talks about a case study where a website had surprisingly low engagement with its search function. You'd think people would use the search bar all the time, but it wasn't happening.
Maybe they just couldn't find the search bar. I've been on websites like that.
You nailed it. Clarity's heat maps showed that users simply couldn't locate the search bar on the site.
Wow. So did they have to redesign the whole website?
No, not at all. The solution was super simple. They added a clearer search box right on the homepage.
So easy. I bet that made a huge difference.
It did. Engagement with the search function went way up. This case study shows how even small design choices can have a big impact.
It's like you said before,
Yeah.
Understanding the why behind the what.
Exactly. Another case study Colin Lee presented was about a website having problems with plugins during checkout. Imagine trying to buy something online and the checkout process is full of slow-loading plugins and annoying pop-ups.
Oh, I hate that. It's enough to make you abandon your cart.
Exactly. And in this case study, Clarity showed a ton of rage clicks right on the close button during checkout. All those plugins were creating a frustrating experience, driving users away.
Makes sense. So getting rid of those plugins would make checkout smoother and more user-friendly.
Right. They removed those third-party plugins and saw a big reduction in rage clicks. A small change, but it led to a smoother checkout experience for everyone.
Wow, it's amazing how powerful these insights can be. By understanding how people are interacting with your site, you can make informed decisions about design and functionality. Decisions that can really make a difference.
Absolutely. And Clarity doesn't just help you understand user struggles on individual pages. It can also show you how user behavior might differ across different regions.
Oh, that's interesting. So you could see how people in different countries interact with your website differently.
Yep. Different cultures can have different website usage patterns, and Clarity helps you understand those. Colin Lee had an example of a website having localization issues, which led to low completion rates for a specific task.
So maybe the website wasn't translated well or adapted for different cultural preferences?
You got it. Clarity's data showed a bunch of clicks on the back button in certain language versions of the site. This meant users were confused and couldn't find what they needed, so they were giving up on the task.
Makes sense. How did they solve that?
They focused on better localization. They implemented language-specific UI elements, made sure translations were accurate and culturally appropriate, and provided clear instructions in different languages.
Did it work?
It did. The completion rate for that task increased significantly after the changes. It shows how important it is to consider a global audience. Clarity gave them the data to pinpoint the problem and find a targeted solution.
This is all fascinating. We've talked about rage clicks, dead clicks, and even regional differences, but I feel like there's so much more to Clarity.
There is. One feature you'll love is smart events. Familiar with those?
Smart events. That sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
Smart events let you track specific actions users take on your website. Think of them like setting up alerts for specific user behaviors. You can track things like signups, purchases, downloads, or any custom event you define.
So if I want to see how many people clicked a certain button or visited a specific page, I can set up a smart event to track that.
Yes. And then you can use that data to analyze user journeys and see what paths users are taking on your website. For example, on an e-commerce site, you can track each step in the purchase process, from adding items to the cart to entering payment information.
Oh, that's smart. So you can see where people are dropping off and maybe identify bottlenecks in the process?
Exactly. With smart events, you see not just what people are doing, but also the order they're doing it in. That can be incredibly valuable for optimizing your website.
This is all great information. Our listeners are probably eager to hear even more about how to improve website engagement.
They are. And speaking of the big picture, let's go back to heat maps for a second. We talked about click, scroll, and attention heat maps, but I want to emphasize how they visually represent user engagement.
So you can literally see which areas are getting the most attention and which are being ignored.
Exactly. And that can be super helpful for optimizing your website. For example, if you see that a call to action button is getting lost in the visual clutter, you can reposition it or make it stand out more to increase click-throughs.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But analyzing all of this data can feel overwhelming, especially if you're not a data scientist.
You're right, it can be a lot. That's where Clarity's AI-powered suggestions come in. It's like having a built-in website consultant.
Wait, Clarity offers suggestions for improvement too.
It does. Clarity's AI, called Copilot, analyzes your website data and gives you personalized recommendations.
Nice, that's cool. Can you give us an example?
Sure. In his presentation, Colin Lee talked about a website struggling with low engagement and short visit durations. People weren't sticking around.
That's a pretty common problem. What did Clarity's Copilot suggest?
Copilot recommended adding a quiz to the website.
A quiz? Interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Right. It's a great way to encourage interaction and make the website more engaging.
So did the quiz actually help?
It did. The website saw a significant increase in time spent on site after they added the quiz.
That's awesome. It's like having a digital assistant to help with website optimization.
It really is. It shows how AI can help us come up with innovative solutions.
Before we move on, I want to talk about data privacy. We mentioned that Clarity collects anonymized data, but how does it protect sensitive user information?
That's where Clarity's masking feature comes in. Masking hides sensitive information from the data. It's like blurring out faces or license plates in a photo.
So what kind of information gets masked?
Anything personally identifiable, like names, addresses, email addresses, credit card numbers, passwords, anything that could compromise someone's privacy.
So even if someone accidentally typed their password into a form, Clarity wouldn't record it.
Right. Masking makes sure sensitive data like that is never collected or stored. It gives both website owners and their users peace of mind.
That's good to know. Data privacy is so important.
Absolutely. And Clarity is built with privacy in mind, so you get valuable insights without compromising user privacy.
Okay, we've talked about heat maps, session insights, AI suggestions, masking. It's clear that Clarity has a lot of powerful tools for understanding user behavior. But why should anyone care about all of this?
That's a great question. The answer is simple. Understanding your users is the key to creating a successful website.
So it's not just about having a pretty website or driving traffic.
No, it's about understanding how people actually interact with your site once they get there. What they click on, where they get stuck, what keeps them engaged. It's about creating a user-centric experience.
And that's where tools like Clarity come in.
Exactly. They give you the insights you need to make informed decisions about your website. Decisions that can ultimately make your website more successful.
Can you give some specific examples of how websites can use Clarity to improve?
Sure. First of all, Clarity can help you identify and fix usability issues. Remember those rage clicks and dead clicks we talked about? Those are clear signs that something's not working right.
So if you see a lot of rage clicks on a button, you know there's a problem.
Exactly. Maybe the button's not working, or maybe the link is broken. Clarity helps you find those problem areas so you can fix them.
And what about dead clicks?
Dead clicks usually mean users are clicking on something they think is interactive, but it's not. Maybe an image that looks like a button or some text that looks like a link.
Ah, so Clarity helps you find those misleading design elements and fix them.
Right. By making your website easier to use and navigate, you'll improve the user experience and reduce frustration. And happier users are more likely to stick around and convert.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about content? Can Clarity help with that too?
Absolutely. Clarity's heat maps and scroll maps show you how people are interacting with your content.
So if I see that people are scrolling past a certain section of text, maybe that means it's not very engaging.
Right, or maybe they're scrolling down to a specific section, which tells you that's what they're most interested in.
And then you can use that information to make the content better.
Exactly. You can make it more concise, highlight the important information, and just generally make it more engaging.
This is great stuff. One last question. How does Clarity compare to other analytics tools?
That's a good question. There are a lot of analytics tools out there, but Clarity has a few things that make it stand out.
Like what?
Well, first of all, it's completely free.
That's a big plus.
It is. Second, it's super user-friendly.
So you don't need to be a tech expert to use it.
Nope. And third, it's powered by AI, so it doesn't just show you the data. It helps you understand it and make better decisions.
Right, we talked about those AI-powered suggestions.
Exactly. It's like having a partner in your website optimization journey.
This has been a really insightful look at AI-powered analytics. It's amazing what we can learn about our users with tools like Clarity.
It really is. And the best part is, it's just the beginning. There's so much more to explore.
It's amazing what we can learn about our users with tools like Clarity. But let's talk about some real-world applications.
Yeah, let's see how businesses are using Clarity in action. Imagine a small business, like a local bakery. They're excited to start selling online, but they're not sure how people are finding and navigating their website.
That's where Clarity comes in.
Right. They install Clarity and start gathering data. They use heat maps and discover that users are initially drawn to the pictures of their delicious cakes and pastries.
Well, yeah, who can resist a good picture of a chocolate croissant?
Exactly. But then they see that many users are struggling to find the Order Now button. Turns out the button was kind of blending into the background.
Oh, I've seen that before. A simple design tweak can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. They redesigned the button, make it bigger and bolder based on the insights from Clarity. And guess what? Their online orders go through the roof.
That's great. A small change with a big impact. It shows how even small businesses can benefit from these insights. What about a larger company? How would they use Clarity?
Let's take a big e-commerce company struggling with high cart abandonment rates. They've put a lot of effort into their online store, but people keep adding items to their cart and then leaving.
Every e-commerce business faces that problem. What did they do about it?
They used Clarity to find answers. Using session replays, they watched how users were going through the checkout process, and they realized that the checkout flow required users to create an account before completing their purchase.
Oh, that's annoying. I've definitely abandoned carts because of that.
It's a common frustration. So, based on that insight, the company decided to offer a guest checkout option.
That makes sense. It removes a barrier for the customer. Did it work?
It did. Cart abandonment went down significantly, and more people completed their purchases. That's a perfect example of how Clarity helps businesses identify and overcome those little obstacles in the user journey.
It's amazing how those small changes can have such a big impact on the bottom line.
It all comes back to understanding your users. And
Yes.
Speaking of that, I think it would be helpful to share a few best practices for using Clarity effectively.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, first things first. Be clear about your goals. What are you trying to achieve with Clarity? Increase conversions, boost engagement, or just understand your users better?
Makes sense. Have a purpose in mind.
Exactly. Second, use those custom events we talked about earlier. Track the actions that matter most to your business.
Right, so don't just rely on the basic metrics.
Exactly. Third, make time to watch session replays. It's like watching a movie of your user's experience on your website. You can see exactly where they get stuck and what resonates with them.
It sounds super valuable.
It is. And finally, don't be afraid to experiment. Clarity is great for testing different things and seeing what works best for your audience.
So it's all about using Clarity to make informed decisions and continually improve your website.
Exactly. Combine data-driven insights with your own creativity, and you can create an amazing user experience that drives real results.
This has been a great deep dive into AI-powered analytics with Microsoft Clarity. It's been fascinating to see how understanding user behavior can make a website so much better.
I agree. It's been fun exploring this with you. And remember, stop guessing. Get clarity.
Great advice. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Deep Dive. See you next time.